All right, I'm excited to show you some Revant exclusive lenses we've developed for 2016. We've taken some of the top selling frame styles and really looked at the lenses and worked through how we might innovate on the different shapes, the vents, adding and removing vents. And we also talked to a lot of you, got a lot of feedback from different forums, our ambassadors in our community, to discuss how we might be able to come up with unique lenses that will provide more benefit than the existing lenses. Through all that, which again took about a year and a half, we came up with unique lenses for 8 different frames here. Some of them we added venting to, and I'll go over in more detail why we added those vents. Some of them we removed venting, and then a few we actually made a completely unique lens shape. So I'll start with the flak jackets here. On the top we have the flak jacket 1.0 and actually the half jacket 1.0, and then the flak jacket 2.0. And to all these we actually added custom venting. We did this because we know people that use these frames in particular are much more active. They live a more active lifestyle, they produce a lot more sweat and heat, and so the back side of the lenses can tend to fog up. If you can see here, we added vents to the top corners of the lens. And we really went with a low profile venting just to prevent any sort of like wind in your eyes or sunlight getting in. But they're shaped so that they'll pull air in and they'll go across the back surface of the lens, not get into your eye, and remove or reduce any fogging that may occur. So this was a really fun project. We tried several different vent styles and landed on this one that I think you're going to be really happy with. So to these 3 frames, we added venting for both the regular versions and then the XLJ and the XL version for the Flak 2.0. Then we have the M frame here, and the most popular lens for this frame is the sweep lens. And we decided to take the sweep lens and actually add a different style of venting across the top. So this was inspired by some of the venting we've seen on other styles of lenses. It's more of a low profile vent, again, to prevent sunlight getting in, wind getting in. That was a lot of feedback we were hearing, was that the venting that was on the sweep was actually allowing that sunlight to get in, which would cause you to squint, and obviously when you're wearing sunglasses you don't want to be squinting. And then also a lot of wind and air was getting through, which was drying out people's eyes and causing issues there. So we went with a really low profile vent. Again, they're angled so that it pulls in air across this back surface of the lens without going directly into your eye, prevents fogging, and really should keep this lens very clear. Then we went over to some of the newer lens styles here. We have the Jawbreaker, which just came out in 2015. This is one of the most recent cycling frames. And in reading through some of the forums and some of the comments about the lens, which stock the lens is vented for both this frame, the Jawbreaker, and the Radar EV, some people are commenting about wanting a non-vented lens. Again, for different conditions where you don't need venting, where it's not hot and you're not fogging up and you just want more protection from the sun, you might want to use a non-vented lens. And then if you just want a different look, so some people actually don't like the look of vents, so we created the non-vented lens here, and you can compare it to the stock lens, which has the venting across the top and bottom. So we did that for the Jawbreaker, as well as the Radar EV, which is here. So we just removed the vents from the top, and again, made sure the top line of the lens followed the contours of the frame so you don't have any open spaces in there. It just has a really clean look and doesn't allow any air or sunlight through. And finally, we created some completely custom lenses for the Radar. We came up with the designs by, again, combing through a lot of the feedback on forums online about the stock lens shapes, and then interviewing a lot of our community members that have these frames and asking them how could we improve on existing lens shapes. So we started with the Radar Path. This is the stock frame or stock lens for the Radar Path, and it's a hugely popular lens. And some of the feedback we received was around the bottom edge, where the curve upward in the stock lens allowed too much wind to get through. So what we did is we just flattened that out and made kind of a much more aggressive line here. And then we also added venting to the top here. And the idea was we wanted to create minimal venting, just enough so that it would keep the lens fog free, but wouldn't allow sunlight and wind directly into the wearer's eye. So we combined those two elements here and then shortened up the sides a little bit. It does provide the essential peripheral coverage, so you get coverage here and here. And then this line here, this cut here, makes it so that the lens doesn't rub against your face at all, but provides essential wind coverage. And then up top, we have the 4 vents that pull air through and across the back of the lens, keeping it fog-free. It's a really cool design. I've used it a lot. Again, the name of this lens is the Revant Sprint lens for the Radar frame. And if you have the Radar frame, definitely check it out. The other lens we looked at was the lens for the M2. This is Oakley's latest version of the M frame, and there are only 2 lenses available for this frame right now. The earlier versions of the M frame had up to 5 lenses available, so they minimized the number of lenses available, and we thought, well, why don't we make a version that is based on some of the feedback we've read about the stock M2 lenses. We took the approach of kind of only incorporating what was needed to provide protection and enough coverage, but again, removing some of that curvature in the stock lens that you'll see along the bottom here. Similar feedback to the Radar where there was wind coming up under there. So we went with a straight line to provide that coverage, make sure that it wouldn't hit the cheek, and then also added venting across the top, minimal horizontal vents so that, again, the wind and the sunlight wouldn't go directly into the wearer's eyes. And this lens is really made for cycling, so we called it the arrow lens. When you're in the arrow position and cycling, you want to make sure that, again, they don't fog up, so you need that venting that will pull the air in across the back of the lens, but also that you're getting the essential protection and coverage you need so that sunlight isn't getting directly into your eye and wind isn't getting directly into your eye. And this lens has achieved that. It's a great lens, very similar to the Radar lens we created. Both are for active use. Both are available in vented and non-vented. Yeah, we want to get your feedback on them, so pick up a pair and let us know what you think. We're also, we always are wanting to solicit feedback on other frames you might want custom lenses for. So send those over to us, and we're happy to create more Revant exclusives that will add value to your frames.